What's up, YouTube man? Just kind of hanging out on a stormy night. It's kind of this video is a perfect vibe of what the video is about tonight. Just kind of hanging out, listening to some White Zombie. I was gonna talk about Rob Zombie's kind of discography, all his albums. You know, his first band, White Zombie, through like his solo stuff. I'm actually listening to this box set called "Letting Sleeping Corpses Lie" that I got, I don't know, about 10 years ago. It's really cool. It's got like their earlier stuff. It's got some of their unreleased songs, some songs on soundtracks. Their two major label releases, Les Sexo Double Music Volume 1 and Astro Creep 2000 or 3000. I can't remember if it's 2000. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, that shows how big of a fan I am. Got my Rob Zombie shirt on. This is kind of to make this video. I got it at their tour. I saw him in 2014. My first time. I wish I would have saw him back in the day with White Zombie. But I love all his solo stuff too. I think I like White Zombie. It's like a little bit better. I like they're just a little bit more metal than his solo stuff. But his solo stuff is pretty awesome too. I guess I was just gonna kind of go through, you know, his albums. I guess I was gonna talk about White Zombie first. And then I was gonna go through like his solo albums and just kind of talk about each one, what I know, what my opinion is, and just kind of what I think about each one. I don't know if you can hear the rain. It's kind of raining hard. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background. But like I said, I was listening to this box set, and it's got like his, I don't know, is it first 3 albums before the major releases on here? It's got those on the. It's got like 5. It's got, okay, 4 CDs and like 1 DVD, but the first 4 CDs are like all his albums with White Zombie, and then I think the DVDs like all their videos. They have some pretty interesting videos, and they always have like kind of the horror vibe, cop vibe, which I love because I'm a big horror fan. But Astro Creep 2000 is probably like one of the first metal albums that I ever purchased. It kind of went down the rabbit hole of heavy metal, you know, just from that album. You know, I just love Rob Zombie's vibe. I think it's just really cool. I found this like maybe 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago at a UCD store, and this is like, I think their 3rd album, I think. It's called Make Them Die Slowly. This is kind of like, they were starting to go in the metal direction, but they weren't totally metal. I think they were still more, maybe kind of surf rock, or kind of, well, I don't want to say surf rock, maybe like kind of noise rock, kind of like the Butthole Surfers or something like that. But I think this is for like Jay Younger joined the band. I think he made them sound more metal, but this just kind of got like, you know, the garage band kind of sound. I still love it. It's still got a vibe to it. It's still like metal. It's just kind of more classic metal. But I just love the vibe. I remember them when they got real big in the early 90s. I remember them, like Blockbuster Music, if you remember that, had this album. And it's cool finding it after all these years. I thought it'd been like long out of print, but I found it at a pretty cheap, like for $6. And very cool. Definitely not my favorite White Zombie album. Very cool to have in my collection. This next album, this is probably what made the band. I mean, the album came out, and I think it was like maybe 2 years before the album started to kind of catch fire. And I think they went on a lot of tours, and you know, they went on tour with Pantera, and I think a lot of thrash bands, because this album's got like a thrash vibe to me, almost like early Kill 'Em All, Metallica, mixed with like Danzig, mixed with like, but they definitely have their own sound. I'm talking about Les Sexo Double Music Volume 1. This album's really grown on me over the years. I just like it better than I used to. I love Thunder Kiss, you know, 65. You know, I love I Am Legend. It just all got this thrash groove, and I think it didn't really take off till the video for Thunder Kiss 65 was on Beavis and Butthead. But very cool. Like I said, this album is growing. I almost like it better than Astro Creep 2000. This because I just got really into thrash, and I think this album's just really fun with the horror clips, you know, mixed in with it. It's just a really fun album, especially around Halloween. It's just got a Halloween vibe to it, you know. I just love the vibe. It's just a kind of precursor of things that come. You know, it's just, to me, it's got this kind of this young thrash sound, kind of like Kill 'Em All or just like even Exodus, I could hear it, but they still have their own vibe, you know. Um, I always thought Rob Zombie's voice kind of reminded me of Buzz from the Melvins a little bit. They kind of had their own kind of thing. I actually got that album on vinyl. I got this at Gatlinburg. Uh, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. Got this and Astro Creep on vinyl, so pretty cool. Need to listen to it on my turntable sometime. But I just love the artwork. I think it's really, really cool. This really neat artwork. I think Rob Zombie does the artwork for it and stuff, or does the artwork for their albums and stuff. And he's just got a cool kind of vibe with his art. I think I remember episode of Headbangers Ball back in the day. He decorated the set. I think he was there for like a couple months and stuff when the band was kind of taking off. I always thought that was kind of cool. Their next album and their last album, the band, you know, sadly broke up. I don't think they could really get along. I think Rob Zombie was dating the bass player. I can't remember her name. I think Sean something. And I say broke up before this album, but this is sadly their last album. This is one of their best. This is how I got into them. This is my first album with them. This is Astro Creep 2000. I think this album's got more of like a, I don't know, industrial vibe, but it's kind of more groove metal. Like kind of, you can hear the influences from Pantera and this you know, just the influences at the time. It's definitely got their own thing on this album. This album, it's a personal classic in my book. I just every song is super heavy. I think they were on tour with Pantera when this came out. I think it was Pantera, Sepultura, and I can't remember who else. But this just made them huge with like More Human Than Human, and they did a lot of songs for soundtracks. You know, they did that song, you know, Feed the Gods from Airheads, and they're actually in the movie kind of playing in that bar they go to, and they did a Black Sabbath song for the Black Sabbath tribute, Nativity in Black. I think they did Children in the Grave, which has got a cool vibe. I love how Jay plays. I think he's a guitar player, and the production's better on this. Like, Lesexo's kind of raw. This is kind of more produced. I think it's produced by Terry Day, and they did Pantera and Soundgarden and Deftones. They just got just more of that production, and you can tell the Pantera influences on here, I think, but they definitely have their own vibe. Sadly, it's like their last album. They broke up after this. I think Rob Zombie was making his solo album, and they just kind of broke up. I think the last song they did together was the one for the Escape from LA soundtrack. I think if I'm not mistaken. But this is like one of my personal favorites from them. I mean, this is my favorite album Rob Zombie's on. I think I like this better than the solo albums, but Lesexo is definitely growing on me over the years. He made a remix album, and I think it's got the cover they did of Casey Sunshine Band song "I'm Your Boogeyman," which is super sexy swinging sounds. I really don't like remix albums, but I really like this one. I think this one's got some cool remixes and stuff on there. Very cool. Like I said, he usually don't like remix albums. He usually does a lot of remix albums now. A lot of after his solo albums and stuff. But like I said, sadly he was recording his solo album Hillbilly Deluxe, and I think they sadly broke up. I don't think they were really getting along on tour with the band, and I heard Rob Zombie. I think like an interviewer asked Rob Zombie would they ever get back together, and he said it, you know, the whole thing had just kind of run its course. But this is the first solo album by him, Hellbilly Deluxe. Had some big hits on here like Super Beast, Dracula, Living Dead Girl. There's some, you know, it kind of definitely had the White Zombie vibe, I think, on this solo album. That would just like slowly change with each like solo albums, but I think this is the closest to like White Zombie. I wonder if they made another album, would it like sound like this, or would it be close to this? But this is probably one of my favorite of his solo albums. I think SinisterUrge is my favorite. This is probably my second favorite. It's kind of got more the metal sound. It's still got the like industrial kind of vibe. But I never was like a big industrial guy. I do like some industrial bands. Like I like Nine Inch Nails, I like Ministry. But some of the industrial stuff, I just kind of like the organic band kind of sound. But this album is a classic. remember it coming out. Like I wasn't gonna buy it because it wasn't White Zombie. It didn't really sound like metal to me like his other stuff, but it's definitely grown on me over the years, and now I love it because I love Rob Zombie. But definitely a really cool album. There's a lot of things I don't really like about these albums. They have a lot of like kind of they'll have like songs. They have like 9 songs on a 13 album track, but like half of them would be just be like kind of instrumentals or just sound effects. And I wish, and Tool does it a lot. And I wish they would just, you got all that room, why don't you just put another song on there or more songs? That's the only problem I would think I would have with it. But definitely a classic album. His second solo album is the SinisterUrge. This is probably my favorite. It's probably his heaviest of his solo albums. He's got like a lot of guest stars on here. Like he's got Ozzy on Ironhead. I think he's got Kerry King on a song. I can't remember what song he's on. I want to say Dead Girl Superstar, but I might be mistaken. Demon Speeding, I think that's a really cool song. Kind of, I think it's his last song with his band with or his solo band at the time. I think Riggs was on guitar. I think that's the last. I think it's the last album he was on. I think Blasco, the bass player, I think he went to join Ozzy's band, and I want to say the drummer went and joined Ozzy's band too, but I can't remember. I think I heard him talk about it, saying that all my Ozzy's kind of stealing all my solo band members. But like I said, this is my favorite. To me, like I said, like the other ones, it took me a while to like this album to grow on me because my buddy had it, and I was like, Rob Zombie stuff kind of all sounds the same, and I got it, and I just kind of grew on me. I love it. Like I said, I think this is like his heaviest of all his solo albums. I think getting John 5, I think it's getting kind of more heavier with each release, going kind of back to this sound, but I think his new kind of touring band has more of an organic kind of 70s kind of vibe. I think this is more metal, more industrial kind of sounding. It definitely doesn't sound like anything at the time. When this album came out, Limp Bizkit was huge. Linkin Park was huge. All those bands, Korn was huge. It's kind of got his own vibe, but it kind of got lumped into that kind of like genre. And he was on a tour with Ozzy around this time. It was Ozzy was a headliner. I think Rob Zombie was next, and it was Mudvayne. I think it was called like some kind of Christmas tour, and I wish I would have went to it because it sounded would have been really, really cool, and I wish I would have went. Maybe Dope was there. I don't really care too much about Dope, but that would have been a cool tour, and it would have been cool to see him on this. Right around that time, I think he was making movies and stuff, and I wanted to make a movie. I wanted to make a video about his movies and stuff. I want to do that maybe separately than his albums. But I think he made Houses of 1,000 Corpses and maybe The Devil's Rejects for the next solo album came out. I think this took a while for his next solo album to kind of come out because that was 2001. I think his next album came out in 2005 or 2006. I'm talking about Educated Horses. This album took a long time to grow on me, and I think at the time when he was touring, he had this big elaborate kind of stage show with like robots and makeup. And he kind of stripped back to all that, and he was kind of doing more of like it seemed like a 70s band. I think John 5 joined him, and John 5 just quit Marilyn Manson and started playing guitar for him, and John 5 is a sick guitar player, and I think I'm much needed to this band. I think he gave Rob Zombie more of an organic kind of band. It seems like more like a band on here than the other albums, and there's some heavy songs in here, but like I said, this album took me a while to kind of grow on me. I love American Witch. 7 Year Locust. It's got kind of a Black Sabbath feel to me, like a real heavy groovy riff, which is really cool. Like I said, this is kind of one of my least favorite of his solo albums, but it's definitely over the years really grown on me. Like I said, I don't think it did really good when it came out. I kind of think it's just when his solo album started to not kind of, I think the first two kind of went platinum. I think his stuff with White Zombie went platinum. I think this is when it started to kind of go downhill, and he kind of went more of a kind of an independent artist. But still, it's got some heavy stuff on here. They kind of have more of a 70s rock kind of vibe from here on out, almost like a old Sabbath kind of vibe, which I think is really cool. Black Sabbath is one of my favorite bands. But like I said, not one of my favorite solo Rob Zombie albums, but it's definitely starting to grow on me. It's got one of my favorite his solo songs, American Witch. That song's just a banger, a really cool, thrashy song. My next album, it's just kind of a live album that it took me a while to get this, but on this album, I think he sounds this is one of the better live albums that I've heard. And live, they sound like amazing. And he's got a really good band right now. I think is it Gingerfish is on drums? And when I saw him live before the band came out, Gingerfish was kind of DJing. That was kind of the opening. And I think he came from Marilyn Manson too, if I'm not mistaken, like John 5 did. But I'm talking about Zombie live. This is like a really, really awesome live album. I think I only paid like $4 for it, so you can't beat that. And I think the songs kind of sound heavier live. You kind of get more of the vibe of the like, especially on Educated Horses. They kind of sound heavier in here, and kind of makes you appreciate the songs more when you listen to the actual album versions. And like I said, they got kind of like a 70s kind of vibe. Like they're like kind of waiting for the airplane. Kind of like reminds me of like kind of a Led Zeppelin vibe, which I think is cool. I usually don't like live albums, but this Rob Zombie puts out like some really good live albums. I actually got three altogether in my stack. But very, very cool zombie album, especially for $4. You can't beat it. I think after that, I think he made some more movies. Like I think he did the Halloween reboot. He did the Devil's Rejects, which is one of my favorite of his movies. I think it's one of my favorite horror movies from the 2000s. And but he finally came out with like a album in 2010, and it's a sequel to Hellbilly Deluxe, Hellbilly Deluxe 2. And he said he called it that because it kind of had the vibe. I don't really think it does. You know, I think it's got more of a vibe of a heavy Educated Horses. But I think the album cover is really cool. the band looks kind of crazy, but I love it. You know, it's really cool. I love this album artwork. I think it's really neat. Like I said, I think this is after this album. This is kind of the vibe of the band. I think after this album, the albums kind of sound like this kind of vibe, and I don't really think it sounds like Hellbilly Deluxe at all. I kind of don't know why he called it that. He said because it kind of sounded like the first album, but I think it's kind of got more in common with Educated Horses than it does Hellbilly Deluxe. Like I said, they just kind of keep going in that kind of 70s organic, kind of a 70s heavy metal band, kind of organic, kind of band feel. But there's some bangers on here. Jesus Frankenstein. Let's see, Virgin Witch is like a kind of thrash. It kind of had elements of thrash and kind of 70s rock kind of vibe. Kind of like if Pantera was playing Grand Funk Railroad. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. But like I said, this ain't one of my favorite of his solo albums either, but I need to listen to it because I haven't listened to this in a long time, and I need to listen to it. I always, when it first came out, I listened to it all the time, and I kind of put it aside. Then it came out the deluxe edition, which has got more songs on it, but still a solid solo album. I want to say this kind of reminds me of White Zombie a little bit, but in a good way. Very, very cool. Like I think after this album, I think he made some more some more movies, and there's a kind of a while before he came out with another album. I want to say 2014, 2013, he came out with Venomous Rat Regeneration Vendor. I hope I said that right. It's got a cool kind of psychedelic cover. I think the album's got kind of a psychedelic vibe, but it really sounds like Hellbilly Deluxe 2 and this. I kind of get confused because they sound kind of so similar, but which I think is cool. It's got a cool picture of them as little kids inside. It's kind of cool. But like I said, like some of his albums, you know, like I feel like they're not classics like some of the like old White Zombie or the first solo albums. Like they come out and they're kind of forgettable. I kind of listen to them a lot when they come out, and I kind of put them away. But I want to start busting these out, start listening to them again. Remember this cat had some cool stuff on it, like remember Dead City Radio and the New Gods of Supertown. Remember that had kind of like a funky vibe. I think he was trying to like new things. He was trying to get away from the metal. It's still some really heavy stuff on here. but it's kind of more kind of maybe funk. Kind of he's trying some new things, experimenting. There's still some metal on here, but it's definitely, if you go from What's Sexo to this, it sounds like a whole different band, a whole different kind of artist almost. Even Rob Zombie's voice is kind of different. It's not the really deep kind of growls that he has. It's kind of more more 70s kind of rock sound, and I can't explain it. But there's some good jams on here. This is another album like Hellbilly Deluxe 2. I need to just kind of listen to because I haven't listened to in a while. But definitely they just kind of got some fan classics like you got Teenage Nosferatu Pussy. I know everybody talks about that album. That song being kind of really heavy, and that starts off the album. But I always like Rock and Roll in a Black Hole. It had like kind of like a industrial vibe, kind of a weird kind of dance beat. I always thought that was really kind of like wicked. It was kind of neat. But it's definitely some bangers in here. Like I said, they kind of like the other albums, they're kind of going for the 70s rock kind of metal vibe. And this sounds more like 70s rock than it does metal. And they even do a Grand Funk cover of We're American Band, which is really, really cool actually. I really like that cover. They played it live when I saw them, and I think John 5 had like a American flag guitar, and it would light up red, white, and blue. It was really, really cool. I saw them live. It was really, really neat. I wish I would have saw them in the early 2000s. They had the big robots and all the makeup. But still, the band sounded like amazing. This next album was a live album called Spook Show International Live, and this is another great live album. This came out like kind of slowly, not slowly, but kind of quickly after his last solo album, this was a really good live album. It's got a ton of songs, and he came out with this, and he came out with like a Blu-ray too that I have, which is a really good Blu-ray. The band he's got right here sound like awesome. Very, 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 very cool. This is about when I saw them. I wonder if they have any of recordings of the show I saw them at on here. But I was wondering that because I got this not too long after I saw them. But it's kind of cool where I was. I could kind of see the whole stage. I can kind of see his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, on the side, kind of watching him. I thought that was really cool. For Rob Zombie's very energetic. He's running around all over the place. Like if I did what he did, I would be out of breath. I think he's a vegan, I think, and I think he lost a lot of weight and stuff. He looks really healthy, though. I think him and his wife are vegan, and he's so energetic. Just seeing him so energetic, I kind of want to be a vegan. I want to have that much energy, especially at his age. I think is he in his 50s, maybe? I can't remember. And a couple years later, it took a while for this album. I think he made some more movies, and came out. The title started to get kind of crazy, but I love it. This album's called I think this came out in 2016, The Electric Warrior Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser. That's a mouth load. I remember this is probably one of his albums I listened to the least. I think I bought it and listened to it a lot when it came out, and I kind of just tucked it away and then really listened to it as much as the other ones. But I need to bust it out and listen to it again. Like kind of the last 3 solo albums, I just kind of, I don't want to say they're forgettable, but I just didn't like it as much as his older stuff. I don't know why if there's not just enough metal, or maybe the songs aren't really catching me as much as the other stuff, but still like good stuff. Like I said, I think this one's a little bit heavier than the last album. But John 5, he's just a sick guitar player. I think he kind of brings like a old Sabbath kind of vibe, and I'd say they have like a 70s rock kind of vibe, like they do the other ones. And like I said, this one's kind of, I don't want to say forgettable, but I haven't listened to it as much as the old ones. I still love it. I still love all his solo albums. I love the vibe, but this is one I haven't listened to as much as the other ones. I need to bust it out and listen to it again on the way to work or something. I love the artwork though. It's kind of very psychedelic-y, kind of cool. I love the long album titles. I think that's really, really cool. I like when bands do that. It's a little different. Like I said, I think this one's a little bit heavier than the last one. Some of the guitar riffs are a little bit more, it's not thrashy, it's kind of more groovy, kind of. Almost like I said, Sabbath. I keep kind of using Sabbath as kind of like a, I don't know, kind of describe it. I don't really know how it's got its own thing going on the solo albums, and Sabbath has got the closest thing, kind of classic Sabbath albums. I feel like it's a real inspiration on some of his later solo albums, but still really cool. Like I said, I need to listen to this. I don't listen to it as much as the other ones, but still a cool album. My last album I want to talk about, this is like a live album, and this is actually a live album doing one of his White Zombie albums live. I think I talked about this a little bit on my I think my favorite album is 2018, and this is Astro Creep 2000 live with his band now. And this, I was kind of leery of this album, and I was like, well, he's not gonna be able to recreate some of his sound effects and his guitar tones from those albums, and he does. John 5 does the whole band does such a good job, and this album sounds like amazing live, and it's would have been cool to see this. This is really cool. It kind of surprised me, but it's still really cool. Kind of wonder what his first band kind of thinks about that. I bet they kind of hate that or kind of laugh about it, but the band he's got now is sick, and I've heard him saying in interviews he really gets along with his band he's got now. I think he really gets along with John 5 and stuff, but I was kind of leery. I just kind of impulse buy, well, I check it out because I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie, but I really, this is one of my favorite live albums. He comes out with some really good live albums. I usually don't like live albums, but still really cool. I would recommend this if you're a zombie fan or White Zombie fan. Very cool. I heard that he is already done recording his new album. He's just trying to figure out what kind of format he wants to release it in. I hope he releases it in a CD because, I collect CDs, but any other way, I love to hear. He says like his heaviest solo albums thus far, which that'd be really cool. It kind of said it reminds him of White Zombie stuff. I was like, well, I can't wait to hear it. I was gonna do another, but this some other discography videos. I like doing them. I remember I did one for like Megadeth, and I did one for Metallica. I did one for Ozzy. I want to do one from Anthrax. I want to do some other albums. I think I tried to make this video 2 years ago, and I don't know why I didn't post it. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't like it. I might not post this one if I don't like it. You listen to back the way you talk. I'll listen back at a voicemail of my voice. I was like, God, I hate my voice. I don't want to hear myself talk. But anyway, I want to make some more videos. I'd like to make a video of Rob Zombie's movies, just kind of talking about his movies. But I can't wait to hear his new album, Elba's new band. I want to see him live again as soon as all this Corona shit kind of goes away. I love that, it'd be awesome. The concerts start up again. Movie theaters open back up. All this stuff just goes away. That'd be awesome. But well, cool. Thanks for watching my video. Cheers.